Member-supported Hawaii Public Radio, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Today we are joined by a guitar player, producer, gifted songwriter, actor. He's crossed paths with some folks that can just imagine the stories he's got since entering his life of music at just 6 years old when he was in school. He's got a chance to, according to his Wikipedia page at least, working with Bohannon as a teenager in the 60s. Then his life would intersect with the Spinners, Marvin Gaye, being a studio musician for Holland Dozier Holland's Invictus Hot Wax recordings, working with Stevie Wonder, Barry White, Chaka Khan. The list is way too long to sit here and go through. He's also the guy who wrote the theme for one of the most popular movies, Ghostbusters. He's with sax player Michael Lington tonight and tomorrow, 6:30 and 9 shows at the Blue Note. Our pleasure to welcome Ray Parker Jr. Hey, Ray, thanks for doing this.
It's good to be here. The big thing I remember about Hawaii is I came here with Stevie Wonder for the first time when I was 18, decided I was going to go surfing, and the board hit me in the head. I thought I was passed out. And by the time I got the board, I drifted out from the hotel.
And did you have to get rescued?
I didn't have to get rescued because I don't think anybody saw me, but let me tell you something. That was interesting.
Frightening sounds like a better word.
Yeah, it was very frightening at the time.
With these shows, describe for us what's in store.
I wish I could describe for you, but I have no idea. This is Michael Lington's show, so I'm going to play whatever he says to play. Maybe I'll sing a song. We got to play a little bit of Ghostbusters, right? Otherwise, we'll get hit with tomatoes or something. Yeah. So we'll have a good time.
You know what's cool is a lot of times these days you hear about early childhood development and how it can impact a person. I guess you would be one of the many musicians who's sort of like a poster child for what can happen when someone is influenced at a very early age, just 6 years old. And would you credit what? The school? How do you credit and tell the story of how the clarinet enters your life?
Well, at that stage, I'm going to say the most important person was my elementary school teacher, a guy named Mr. Kirby, Alfred T. Kirby. He was really a wonderful guy. And, it all came about even meeting him because I didn't want to dance with the girls in gym class. So I went to the principal of the school and said, look, is there anything else I could do? Because I hate this class where we switch partners and we go around and around. I just didn't want to do it,
And so they put you into music instead?
Yeah, the principal waited about 60 seconds. Like, did this little punk kid come down here and tell me what he's going to do and not do? I remember that look on his face.
So obviously school, huge influence putting the instrument into your hand. And then I saw an interview with you that you had been watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and that's how you discovered someone playing the guitar.
Yeah, I thought Lovin' Spoonfuls, and John Sebastian had, I think, a white Stratocaster or something similar. And they actually showed him walking out with the guitar and a cable and plugging it in the amp and turning the amp up. I thought that was just too cool.
Years later, did you ever get to tell John Sebastian what an influence he played in your life?
Believe it or not, no, I have not met him yet. He's one of the people I would like to meet.
You've met a lot of folks. That would be a fun story.
A lot of folks, but I have not met John Sebastian. And the song that blew me away was What a Day for a Daydream.
So what do you do, if you can explain it to the rest of us, to learn to play so good that by your teenage years, you were playing with Bohannon, then by 16, you're playing guitar for the Spinners, and it says writing songs with Marvin Gaye?
Well, a couple of things happened at 10 years old that I don't wish on anybody. One was I broke my leg and had a cast around my toes going all the way up to my waist for a year and a half and all that. So I had actually absolutely nothing to do but practice. I couldn't walk anywhere, and I was completely immobile. So all I could do was practice my guitar over and over. So I got really, really good at it in a short amount of time.
That's a great story, and that makes a lot of How had you broken it?
Riding a bicycle, 5-speed dragster, which was a banana seat low-end bike. And you stick your foot out to turn the corners, around the curve. Right. My foot got caught in the curve. When I heard it snap and snapped around, then I checked. Then I stuck it in the back rear spokes, and then I fell on it.
That's a
so it was
painful lesson.
Yeah.
What is the Marvin Gaye part of the story?
We were working at the 20 Grand with Hamilton Bohannon, and that was like one of the Motown bands. But Marvin Gaye wanted to go in and try something new because he just finished What's Going On. So he chose us to be the band to go in and do it with him.
How old are you at that time?
15. I couldn't drive at that time. I can remember it clear as day because the best day of my life, everybody was smoking weed at the studio, and they looked over at me and they felt bad because I was an underage kid. So Marvin had one of those Cadillacs that's in the movie Superfly, but he had a burgundy one. It was tricked out. If you lived in Detroit, this was as sharp a car as you could possibly want to drive. And he looked over at me. I don't think I had my driver's license yet, and he just said, here's the keys. Go take a spin for a couple hours, you know.
Oh.
So here I am going to high school, where I should have been anyway. I was sneaking out of high school to record with Marvin Gaye. But I showed back up at my high school in Marvin Gaye's $45,000 Cadillac. And as soon as I saw my friends, I immediately realized that I couldn't stop because they were going to try and get in the car. So I just kind of rolled the windows up and left them, blew the horn and showed off. And it was the best 2 hours of my life. I just drove around having a great time.
It's a great story, an unusual one too. And would you also, that same story, would you say the reason that you got the studio gig doing the guitar work with the Holland Dozier Holland recordings had to do with basically having broken your leg and being able to hone your skill to be that good?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. All of the above, playing Jewish bar mitzvahs and weddings, playing jazz gigs, just everything prepares you for what you got to do next.
Could it possibly prepare you for getting the call from Stevie Wonder?
That was a game changer, Stevie Wonder. He called me up and said, hey, I've heard a lot about you. You don't have to audition. I want you to be in the band. Come play this tour with me. I want you to play on a Talking Book album, and I want you to play on the Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young record, So that was a lot of information for a kid 18 years old in college. And I had told him he had to wait a day or two while I talked to my father because I had to drop out of college and kill my parents' dream to go do this.
To pull this off.
They wanted me to go to college. They never really heard of Stevie Wonder or the Rolling Stones. They could care less.
Right.
My dad was like, you're not getting no pension in retirement. You don't get no benefits, and they just wasn't feeling it.
Right. It didn't have the same currency or the same reliability that an education would have. And
I learned more with Stevie Wonder than anybody.
Have you guys maintained a good relationship through the years?
Yeah, I'd say it's a love-hate relationship. He loves me, but he hates me at the same time.
Why would he hate you?
He's mad at me because I left the band. He makes that very clear. He's told me as recently as earlier this year. Yeah. I heard his feelings leave the band. But then at the same time, he said he's proud of me for doing all the things that I've done.
And was that to go to the Barry White gig, or why was that you...
No, I wanted to make my own record. I wanted to do more.
What's a cool story of hanging with him with his deep voice that just makes you laugh when you think...
First of all, Barry White was one of the kindest guys in the world. He seemed like a gangster, tough guy when he had that big voice yelling at everybody. But, I'll never forget him saying, Ray, nobody gets a song on Barry White. No way, no how, no nothing. And his manager lived in my building, so he drove over to my building, parked his car in the wrong spot in front of the gate. And I wanted him to hear a song because I'm trying to sell it to him. So I come with my little convertible Mercedes and to hit the gate. The gate hits his white Mark 7, lifts it up, crashes on it. He pulls the gate off. So now he got to fix the gate and he got to fix his car. And he looks at me and says, Ray, thanks. I needed that. And he's pissed off. And I said, well, okay, but listen to this song. So I pushed him in my car and made him listen to the song. And you know what? By hook or crook, that wasn't the end of the story. I had to get Gene Page, the famous arranger, to write the charts for me. And one day when we were finishing early at the studio, Barry was about to go home. And I said, why don't you let me cut my song? He said, you can't cut your song. You don't have no charts. I said, well, I got the charts. Why don't you just go home and let me do it? And I cut the track. He wrote the words, and we sold millions of records. But that's even after I tore up his car. So, I mean,
What does that say,
he's
right?
a pretty kind guy. When I saw his car get tore up, I said, shoot, I'm not even going to be playing on the record no more, let alone talking to him,
That's some funny stuff. Well, final question for you, and obviously it's an important one. I've heard you talk about it. When you get something in a movie, it goes far.
Yeah.
So talk about what led to writing the Ghostbusters theme and how it ended up being this massive thing.
Well, it wasn't going to be much. It was just supposed to be a minute, 20 seconds into the library scene. And it's one of those things, it just turned into a monster. It started off as a little plant, and it just grew into a monster. No way did I know it was going to do all that. And it was just start off as a really, really small thing, and it just turned into a monster. Next thing I know, I did that saying, who you going to call? And what I like most about the song is all the kids now, 5 or 7 years old, they all know that song like it just came out yesterday.
Right. Yeah, it has a timeless quality to it, doesn't it?
It's a timeless quality, yeah.
And you ever get any feedback from Stevie on that song?
Oh, yeah. We've talked about that.
Was he proud of you on that one?
Well, I wouldn't say that because it was nominated against him by an Oscar. He was a little bit nervous. He wasn't speaking to me that day till he won. Then he told me, Ray, don't feel bad. If you ever need an Oscar, you can borrow mine. He had never been nominated for it. Had I taken that Oscar from him, I don't know if we'd ever be speaking again.
Right. He's playing tonight and tomorrow with Michael Lington over at the Blue Note. It's Ray Parker Jr. Shows at 6:30 and 9. It's been a huge thrill having him on All Things Considered with us. Hope you had a good time today. I really do appreciate this.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. Aloha, everybody. It's Ray Parker Jr., and I'm here to ask, who you gonna call? We're spending the afternoon with our friend Dave Lawrence. Aloha, Dave.
If there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call?